This is Pinky. He's a male cat, domestic short hair. He's available for adoption. He's pet of the week. He's a very loving cat.
Hang on to us, please. Oh, here. Pinky.
Pinky.
Pinky. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, we got a wildcat on our hands. Pinky, settle down, bud. Be careful, Cole. Careful. Why don't I get a catch pole? Somebody get a catch pole.
Oh. Pinky.
Dude.
Watch it, it's caught up in there. Just disconnected from the deck.
He's a very loving cat.
Hey little nasties, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the Nasty Bedazzler. There's probably some shit here about something fucking dumb. It doesn't matter. I'm wasted, and I'm your host, the Nasty Bedazzler. Did I already say that? Today we're checking out the game Stray, and this game, fucking, dude, I'm wasted. Welcome to hell, populated by a smorgasbord of miserable robots, rat-like creatures named the Zerk that want to eat these robots along with everything else, and a lovable cat named PP McGillicuddy acting as the enjoyably sniffable rubber cement holding all of it together. Sure, the cat might not be named PP McGillicuddy, but it could be, though for the sake of this review, that's what I'll call him, or her. It isn't relevant to this game, but since I'm an attractive dude, my cat's a dude, and my cat is named PP McGillicuddy, deal with that. I'll be calling him PP for short to make things a little easier on everybody, and it's a great name. Feel free to borrow it the next time you feel like birthing a kid. Stray garnered quite a lot of attention due to its unique plot, so it more than likely requires little introduction. This little gem was puked out on PC, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5 on July 19th, 2022. Sorry, Xbox fans, you don't get to play with this PP for some reason, though my best guess is that Sony paid the publisher to keep you from having it. I could be wrong, but I'm probably not, seeing as how Sony clearly hates any gamer that doesn't play their games on a PlayStation console, and this is standard practice for them, and quite frankly, I'm surprised we even got it on PC. And if my assumption about Sony being dicks is right in regards to this game not on Xbox, it makes it all the more hilarious that the CEO of PlayStation, Jim Ryan, has been bitching and moaning in the press lately about Microsoft likely owning Call of Duty in the near future, but I digress. He must not like a taste of his own medicine, but cry me a river, bro. Don't get me wrong, I own a PlayStation 5, and I love the games, and I don't even own an Xbox, but Sony has some shitty anti-consumer practices, man. Regardless, this game releasing on PC must have been some sort of compromise, and what I'm thankful for, since for this video and my own personal enjoyment, I opted to play the game on PC instead of my PlayStation 5, with the hopes that perhaps down the line there might be some interesting mods for this one to check out. The ones I've seen so far mostly center around changing your cat to something stupid like a washing machine, so nothing I'm really interested in, but who knows. One day we might get that one killer mod that really expands the hell out of this game, and so in order to future-proof my purchase, I went the PC route. Now what initially drew me to this game was the presentation and the concept. I love the idea of a cat walking through a dystopian city, devoid of humans, and since I'm a dog lover... Dog lover? Really? And I've got a couple cats myself, so whatever. I felt like this game beckoned me from, like, God. I don't know. This is terrible. Let's just go onto the clip. Look at this silly cat. Look at this silly cat. Oh, she loves the string. She's such a goofy cat. What about you, goofy cat? You love this little string cat? You guys love it? Oh, these cats are crazy. You saw the clip. I've got 2 cats. They're beautiful. I'm obsessed with them. How could I refuse to review a game like this? So this game was developed by Blue 12 Studios in France and published by Annapurna Interactive in the good old USA, which is where I'm from. Now, look, this is going to be an in-depth review, and there's going to be some spoilers here, although I'm going to try to keep them light. I'm going to try to keep it to the earlier portions of the game, but you might see some video clips here that are from later portions of the game, and that's just the way it is. The game's been out for about 2.5 months now, so you've had your chance to play it, and I've had my chance to sit on this review. So, with that being said, let's go into it. I'm going to heavily discuss the opening portion of the game since it mostly nails a lot of talking points that, as a reviewer, I'd like to highlight. After that, like I said, I'll keep it mostly vague as to not ruin a majority of the game if you are still considering picking this one up. Right at the start of the game, you get a brief introduction to what this game is and what it expects from you and what you can expect from it. You are first introduced to PP's family, and my first impression here is how good the game looks, starting out in what appears to be a drain pipe waiting out a storm with a few other equally cute cats. Graphics in general at this point on the newest generation of consoles or on a good gaming PC no longer really require discussion on how good they are. We all get it, they're good. What is worth discussing though is the attention to detail. The environments look amazing. This world looks once lived in and is now mostly overrun by nature. PP is as cute as you would expect him to be, and the robots and other various life or AI you encounter through your journey are well realized and fit the environment in which you find them. The urban areas of the game are bustling with robotics or Zerks, and every nook and cranny was cared for. I love the look of this game, and exploring each of the different environments is a jolly good time. You can easily get lost in each zone if you feel like exploring them, or just rush through them if you're nasty. Though this is a shorter game, you can beat it in 6 hours. What's here follows the old adage, less is more. There are less areas to explore than many other similar titles, but what is here is fantastic, and you can tell the devs put a lot of time perfecting the environments. There's nothing copy-pasted here as far as the environments go. Everything is unique from one another. Even the robots, which could have been easily copied from one another, are their own unique designs that have different behaviors. It's a great game to look at, and I also feel like this is one of those games that others would have a good time watching while someone else plays. The obvious great graphics now out of our way, let's move forward through the opening portion of the game. Okay, so back to the storm pipe. While lounging about here, you can get a little frisky with the other kitties because that's what cats do, then lay PP down to take a little nap. Upon waking and watching an adorable and short cutscene, you'll head out of your shelter with your companions and enter a bit of a tutorial crash course on the gameplay. Now this tutorial is extremely brief, only lasting a few minutes, and during that time I learned almost everything I needed to know as far as the basics go to control PP, so it's all streamlined and easy to learn. Props to the developer for not overcomplicating things. This first chapter here is called Inside the Wall, no relation to Pink Floyd, though I was clearly outside with lush vegetation overtaking the area and with plenty of sunlight, 2 things unbeknownst to me at the time I wouldn't be seeing much of going forward. I've heard some complaints about the controls, mainly pertaining to the jump being designated to an on-screen prompt instead of being able to jump about freely at your leisure, but I found this to be a streamlined way to control PP and to keep mistakes to a minimum, and for this game with as much platforming as it has, it makes sense to me. Let me just say that sometimes in games, as with in life, when you give people too much control, they end up hurting themselves, and that's why things like railings, floaties, and safety scissors exist. With this system, it's easy to see exactly where PP will go when you press the jump button, and after I got the hang of it, I hardly ever thought about it again, and I was able to breeze through any sections with minimal mistakes and very little impedance. I also learned a few other actions that PP can do, such as drink from a puddle, which does nothing, as far as I can tell, aside from make everyone in the room collectively orgasm from a serotonin dump in their brain, as well as scratching on posts or other objects, which does come in handy a few times, and most people won't come from this, but some might. Also, it's strange how much liquid PP takes in during the entire game, but yet never pisses once. This cat is a god. While venturing about with his companions, Kitty takes a bit of a tumble here while jumping between pipes like an idiot, and this cute little PP falls into the abyss and is separated from his family. Not only that, PP is temporarily injured but apparently heals like the Wolverine after passing out then licking his paw. I'm not too familiar with the inner working of cats despite having 2 very real cats myself that are cats. but I had no idea an injured leg could heal so quickly. We are now in the Dead City, and this area serves to further demonstrate the game mechanics and introduce the player to more platforming and light puzzle solving. It's at this time too I realized how minimal the HUD is in this game, and by minimal I mean it's almost non-existent. Aside from on-screen prompts letting me know where I can jump and what objects I can interact with, or any open menus I might have, the screen is clear of any other nonsense, which is refreshing in a game like this. The game is designed around it, so it is never really an obstacle trying to figure out where I need to go, and I was hardly ever stuck for more than a few moments in the earlier half of the game, though it does have its moments later on where I was completely stumped on what the hell I had to do, or knew what I had to do but no idea how to do it. Any information I needed to navigate throughout the game world is presented in the world itself. Neon signs with arrows on tops of buildings showing me the correct path to take while seamlessly blending into the scenery, burnt out letters on signs telling me where to go, or computer monitors containing the information I needed are littered throughout the world. You can also have your little PP meow to activate certain elements in the game world, such as string lights, which will illuminate as a hint to the player as to where they should be going. This works incredibly well, and I was having an easy time navigating through the opening sewers and eventually rooftops and through now vacant apartments, which are still in pristine shape after being abandoned for God knows how long. Very early on in the game, I was introduced to one of the only real dangers you encounter in Stray. These are called the Zurks, and they're a horde of rat-like little bastards that hop all over the place, and one of the few things that can kill you in the game. This area is intense. Once you enter it, you can see that PP does not appreciate being around these freaks of nature, and once they catch sight of me, they begin to hunt me down through a series of alleys, and when they actually catch up and latch on, the only way to get them off is by pressing a button repeatedly. If they overwhelm PP and stick on for too long, PP will die and you start the section over. I did die a few times here, but it's nice to see that when you die, you start again very close to where you failed, and that holds true through most of the game, so there isn't a lot of grind here to get back to where you were to try again. After playing for about 20 minutes or so, I began to get accustomed to the atmosphere of the game world, and I found it to be well realized. I think the development team did a good job here with the music and the sound, as well as the overall ambience of the area in which you are exploring. Each area is unique and detailed, and it's easy to believe that this is a world that once was populated by humans that are no longer here, yet the world continues on without them. There are also varying environments such as slums, sewers, a tree village, a large metropolis, rail station, and more here to explore, and the changing environments keep you interested in checking out what the game has to offer. Silly things like how anything still works or still has power is glossed over for the most part, but it doesn't detract from what the game is trying to accomplish. It is around this point too that I found myself entering the next chapter called The Flat, and this is where the game begins to get more interesting and deviates from the standard running and jumping that we've come to expect so far. It's also at this point I will stop being so specific while talking about the game, since we are now past the opening sequence. Around this time, you will encounter your little robot buddy that's almost as cute as my PP, almost, named B12. This is your sidekick for the rest of the game, and most of the functions and actions aside from standard running and jumping within the game world are accomplished by using the help of this robot. What B12 does for you essentially is translate the entire game world in a way that PP can understand. He also grants you an inventory via a little backpack he equips on PP and allows scanning the environment as well as providing clues on what to do next. Scanning the environment can unlock memories and saves them to your database while exploring. While memories are a decent addition and gives the game a little more backstory, none of it is essential or alters the game or ending in any way. It's somewhat a shame that seeking out these memories or other optional items, as well as performing optional side quests, doesn't amount to much aside from a little extra yet inconsequential story, but I suppose it's nice that it's here. Ultimately, adding this robot companion to this game is brilliant, as controlling a non-verbal character could get old fairly quickly, so this quirky little sidekick fills in the gaps in that regard. B12 also serves as a way to progress the plot forward and gives you a purpose. Keeping this vague, B12 is the device that drives the story and releases little bits of information to you as you navigate through the game. Unfortunately for B12 and fortunately for the story, this robot is suffering from amnesia and only bits and pieces come back as the story progresses. Amnesia is always one hell of a cliche and hardly something that ever happens in real life, but it does what it is supposed to do here. Whether you like it or hate it, Stray is a very linear game. This is not an Ubisoft game. It's not Assassin's Creed. There's not an open world here, even though it might feel like it. This game wants you to do things a very specific way. And if you're cool with that, it's a very fun game to play, but if you're not, and if you're expecting something more, you might be disappointed here. Stray is basically one fetch quest after another. Go here, do some shit, get what you need, and go do some more shit. After you do that, go do some other shit in order to get more shit, then move on to the next shit to find more shit. Now look, the reason fetch quests usually suck is because of how generic they are. Fetch quests are typically used in order to pad a game runtime with unnecessary and stupid tasks that don't matter for the overall story. Stray avoids this and does fetch quests well, so if you aren't thinking about it, you won't ever really notice that what you're doing here is fetch quest after fetch quest. The game does need to have a gameplay loop, and fetch quests is that loop. I will say that it is executed well, and for the most part, you won't really think about it as you progress through the game. There are optional side quests that involve you finding sheet music for a robot named Marusk or locating colored plants, but the payoff is essentially worthless in every case and only exists here to make the game longer if you like exploring and doing all there is to do in a game. I wish there was more to it, but there isn't. There's also a vendor early on in the game that sells things for energy drinks, and for a brief moment it almost feels like there might be some substance to some side quests in the game. Like if you find all the energy drinks and buy everything he is selling, something more might come of it, but there isn't. There is one main mission, however, in the large city of Midtown that requires you to locate items of clothing for a mission, and it is so incredibly vague, I don't know how I would have figured out what to do if it weren't for an online walkthrough. It was really frustrating too, since I tried for an hour or two to figure out what I had to do before giving up and searching for the answer. When I got the answer, I was pretty baffled how the developers ever thought the average player would be able to figure this one out, but it is the sole instance of this game completely fucking up a mission. I guess the devs need to pad the length of the game somehow, and this was the one mission they chose to do it with. When you get to Midtown and you don't know what to do, that means you're at the point I'm referring to. Just look it up and don't waste your time trying to figure it out on your own unless you're a masochist. Even though fetching is a dog's job, which I wouldn't know much about since I have two obvious cats, that doesn't mean it's the only thing you do in this game. There are action sequences here about midway through while traveling from the slums up to the Tree City, which I haven't talked about and I won't, that require you to murder as many Zerks as possible, and it's a fun diversion. The environments in most of these sections is a stark contrast from what you typically see in Stray, and they feel out of place. I'm not complaining though, as I really enjoyed this section of the game. Most of the area is a living organism with eyes growing out of the walls and other disgusting shit while you work your way through the sewers. I will say that this area was completely unexpected, and I thought it was great. And it was also here that you are now equipped with a Zerk killing light that you can use to explode your enemies. It works in short bursts, and if you use it for too long it requires a long recharge before he can use it again, so timing is crucial during this area of the game. I almost kind of wish that this type of gameplay... Oh, for fuck's sake. Really? Really? Let me know when you... There goes my cats. There's my cats. Just being silly cats. Are you guys done meowing at whatever that was? For fuck's sake. I almost kind of wish that this type of gameplay made up a larger portion of the game, but just having it at all is welcome. This area is short-lived, but for those that want sequences like this in their games, it does exist here just in small bursts, but it's fun while it lasts. There are also other sequences, like escaping from a prison and avoiding robots equipped with lasers in a stealth mission that seem very Splinter Cell or Metal Gear, and, while it can be frustrating, it was a fun diversion. There are many puzzle elements in these sections, like getting the robots to follow you, then locking them in cells while you run to safety. The thing with Stray is that it is never too difficult, but just difficult enough where you will fail a couple times, then complete whatever mission you're on after 2 or 3 tries. It can be vague at times, but just enough where you might be confused the first 1 or 2 times you play through a section, then fully get what it wants from you the next playthrough. It's balanced in that way. This isn't Dark Souls. The purpose here isn't to infuriate the player, but just to challenge them enough. The game might require you to fail a few times until you understand what you need to do, but once you understand what you need to do, you can breeze through those sections without any further issues. I feel like Stray wasn't designed to be overly challenging or frustrating. The game wants you to complete it, and it does a good enough job showing you how to do that, then letting you fuck it up a few times using what you've learned, then completing it. There's hardly any filler here. The game tells the story it wants to tell and wants you to progress through it to see that story, and doesn't put a lot of roadblocks in your way hindering your progress. Though that quest in Midtown getting those clothes was bullshit, you'll see soon enough if you play this one, just use an online guide. Anyway. So you're a cat running around doing some shit in this game. That's the gist of it. What I want to talk about now is the music and sound. Now both the sound and the music in this game are outstanding, and the sound designers here and the music composers deserve a special shout out because they've done such a great job on this game. Now it's more of like an ambient mix, something similar to Blade Runner or Blade Runner 2049, or even maybe that Tom Cruise movie Oblivion. I only mention that because I'm obsessed with Tom Cruise, but still I'm going to show you a couple clips here of what I'm talking about as far as the sound and the music goes. So let's take a look at that. I've covered everything I can think to in this game, from the controls, the music, the quests, the characters, the enemies, the sidekick, the point of it all, everything. Everything leading up to the end sequence is epic, and everything is finally unveiled. You know your purpose, and you know the purpose of your little robot pal B12. The final sequence that can be considered the ending sucks. I'm not going to show it here, even though it wouldn't matter, but I also want to look at this another way. I don't consider that final sequence the ending. I consider the last 45 minutes of the game the ending. And if you look at it from that perspective, it isn't so bad. In fact, it's pretty rewarding. You get what you needed from the story, and you see it all unfold, and it is exactly what you want. I just wish the final scene wasn't so vague. Too bad that it was executed in this way, because a lot of the things you accomplish in that last 45 minutes would have made for a great ending sequence, but it's still in-game. But how was the entire game leading up to that ending? Everything I've talked about so far, I've never mentioned whether or not the game is good. Well, I've been on a hot streak. Many of the games I've played lately and reviewed, I've ended up reviewing positively, and this one fits right in, so I guess I know how to pick them. I love this game, and it was enjoyable throughout almost all of it. There were only a few moments where I was frustrated, like finding the hat and blazer for this robot in Midtown. But for the most part, the game is very forgiving. It's not about the challenge for this one, it's about the experience, and I think it is well paced out. The story is interesting, the characters are interesting, the level design is great, everything looks fantastic, the music is phenomenal, the sound is great. I do wish that the side quests had some sort of payoff, like opening up optional quests that otherwise wouldn't have been available to you, but that's not the case here. These side quests exist solely on their own and do not open up any new content. They exist just for the sake of letting you do them if you want to, and they could have used a little work fleshing these out. The characters you meet are fun and well developed, and I loved all the environments this game offered. Bottom line here though, this game is worth checking out. It's original and unique, having you control a cat named PP McGillicuddy trying to save the world. Well, not exactly, but to a cat it probably seems like that's what he's doing, and with a robot buddy named B12 and fighting off metal-eating rats named the Zerks, and for 30 bucks on the PC, it's a bargain. For 6 hours worth of solid gameplay, I think it's worth that price. It's a great game and one I'm glad I picked up. If you got a PlayStation or a decent PC, check this one out. Don't be a pussy. Yeah, get that joke? I was hesitant to say it or even keep that in because it sucks so bad, but... Alright, we're done here. Check out Stray. It's awesome. Thanks for watching. So if somehow you didn't notice, a lot of the live takes that were put into this video are just me while I'm completely smashed. I'll just say that was not planned, it just sort of happened, and I could have easily gone back and re-recorded those parts, I just chose not to. But because of that, I ended up taking quite a few takes for every single part and ended up with quite a lot of weird shit, which I'm about to play for you now. Hopefully you enjoy some of that. Thanks again, though, for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Whatever the fuck it says on the screen below, that's some dumb shit. Okay. I'm your host, the Nasty Bedazzler. I'm drunk as fuck. And what initially drew me to Stray, which... Hey guys, welcome to So here we are, here's a late intro. Oh my god, this is fucking ridiculous. Drawn to, oh god, that, and yeah, hey little nasties, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the Nasty Bedazzler. There's probably some shit here about something fucking dumb, it doesn't matter. I'm wasted, and I'm your host, the Nasty Bedazzler. Did I already say that? This game, fucking... Dude, I'm wasted. Hello, and welcome back. Fucking, what a fucking ever. Oh god, I hate this. God, I just want to fuck someone to death. That's what this channel needs to be. It needs to be, we'll make it a game show called Who Wants to Get Fucked to Death? And then someone comes here and I fuck him to death on camera. This is good. I like this idea. We're gonna work with that, but hold on. Fucking, don't make videos when you're drunk, man. It's hard as shit. Is my camera even, it's like not centered. Who gives a shit? Let's try this again. I hate it. Stray is a very linear game. Like, look, it's like, what? This game is just funneling you from point A to point B to point P to point PP to point PP. Stray is a very linear game. There's not a little bit. Stray is a very linear. God damn it.